Welcome to another episode of This Is Anything Goes, and today I'm going to show you how to change the rear wheel bearing on the Proton Inspira aka Lancer 08. Now, this is the rear passenger side. I'm going to turn it and you're going to hear nothing. Okay, there's no roaring sound, there's no scraping sound. You only hear this brake sound. Now let's go to the other side. Okay, so try and listen to this. Okay, so besides this brake sound, you can hear a roaring sound that gets louder as it turns faster. So that tells me that the bearing is short. It needs to be replaced. So let's get to it today, alright? Okay, so the first thing we need to remove after we remove the wheels is that we need to remove the brake caliper. So to do this, there's two bolts, not this or this, but the one behind it, which is the size 14 mm over here, and the one that's underneath here. I hope I can show it to you. Here's my finger. The one over here. Okay, these are 14 mm. Once we remove it, we will be able to remove the caliper and we'll just put it at one side. Okay, once you have put the brake caliper at the side, what you need to do is just give this a few taps to remove the entire brake rotor. Make sure your handbrake is not engaged, because if your handbrake is engaged, this will not move. Okay, so I finally managed to get it out. So rubber mallet, not good enough. Okay, as a matter of fact, I actually damaged my rubber mallet whacking it. So the best way is, what I did was I sprayed WD-40 in the gaps over here in between the studs, and I used a piece of solid 2x4 and let's see, 26 pounds, 2.6 pounds hammer. So what I did was just put it over here, whack, 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 and it got loosed. It took less than a minute with this. I was hammering with the rubber mallet for a good 5 minutes. Okay, so once it's loose, we can actually take it out. And this is the reason why I always do not really use WD-40, because it gets messy. Okay, so we have gotten this out. We can clean this off later. We'll be removing this. And how to do it? Okay, this is at the back of the bearing. So the first thing you need to remove is size 8 mm bolt in the middle here. This would be the ABS sensor cable. Make sure you remove this. Then you need to remove this 4. Then we can just push up the bearing, alright? Okay, now that we have this 4 out, it's time to remove this. What we need to do is just use a hammer and hammer it a bit, shake it up and take it out. And we got it out. Okay, so I've gotten the bearing out. So As you can see, it was actually quite rusted here, which makes it a bit more difficult. So what you can do is support it on the shield side and whack it from the back using a hammer. Hammer works for every single situation, right? If it doesn't come out, hammer it. If it's misaligned, hammer it. If it's bent, hammer it, cause it's hammer time. Alright, so now that we've gotten it out, let's have a look at the new parts. Okay, so the new parts is actually from Guido X series. It's a 1-to-1 direct replacement. Yeah. Okay, 1-to-1 direct replacement. It even has the ABS sensor as well. I mean, the ABS sensor is there, but it supports the ABS sensor. Smooth. Pretty sure you can hear that. I hope. No sound. Okay, so let's install it back. Okay, we want to install with the sensor facing this side, alright? Facing the front. Okay, so once you've gotten the 4 bolts, make sure you remember the ABS as well. Okay, now that we have assembled back everything, we will need to clean it up with some brake cleaner, alright? Not very dirty actually. And the disc as well. After that, just assemble it back. And we will assemble back the caliper and then the wheels. Alright guys, so the DIY is done, and that's how we change the rear wheel bearing for the Proton Inspira aka Lancer 08. So a couple of things that you might need to take note. So some hammering might be required. It may seem a bit rough, but that's the way you got to do it. You got to do it, okay? Now some people will probably comment, hey, why did I put anti-seize over there so that it's easier to take out? Hey, why don't I do this? Hey, why don't I do that? Okay, very simple. This car is about 10 years. So 10 years and I still managed to get it out. And if this bearing is as good as the original, it will be another 5 to 10 years before I need to remove it. So by the time any anti-seize also would be gone, you will still have a stuck bearing there, right? So the main thing is you have the correct technique to remove the rear wheel bearing. Now let's talk about cost. How much did it cost me? So this is not an original Mitsubishi or Proton bearing. It is from Guido X. I will put a link in the description on where I purchased it. It is about 190 ringgit inclusive of shipping. 190 ringgit is roughly about 40 plus US dollar. Okay, test drove it, pretty good. Went to 180, no droning sound. Now, what are the symptoms of a bad rear wheel bearing? Very simple. As you drive faster, you get the droning sound that gets louder. Okay, and the way to test it is to jack both your wheels up, turn it. If it has a droning sound, that's the bad rear wheel bearing. Now, another question that people will probably be asking, do I need to change both sides? No, you do not need to. Just change the 40 side. If you want, you can always change the both of it if you have budget. But if you don't, changing one side and leaving the other side that is not having any problems, perfectly fine. But that side will most likely fail in the near future as well, because hey, it has been 13 years since I got this car. 12 to 13 years. This is a 2010-2011 model. Wow, the bearing lasted very long. Okay, so the rear wheel bearing, I actually purchased it back in September 2022, but Only now, in May 2023, I've got the time to actually do it. Okay, so that's the end of this video. As usual, I hope you like it. Give me that. If you dislike it, you can always put this, but leave us a comment down below on what to improve further, alright? And if you have not done so, make sure you hit the subscribe, make sure you hit the like and the bell button so that you get notified on our next upload. Till then, I will see you again.